Just a few days ago, I raffled off my Pentax K1 instead of selling it. Got a lot of questions. It was a mega success, much more than I would expect it to have been. So I promised a few people I'd do this little video to talk you through the mechanics of how you could do the same, what went wrong, what went right, what I'd change, what I thought about when I set it up. I'll try to answer any questions that have been specifically asked as we go through the video, but if there's something I haven't covered, pop it in the comment section below and I'll answer you as soon as I possibly can. Okay, so a little background. I switched from Pentax to Sony a little while ago now. I sold most of my Pentax gear off. For the most part, it was fairly straightforward. I sold most of it through the Pentax gear sales group on Facebook, a little bit on eBay. The higher end stuff was harder to get rid of than the cheaper stuff, which perhaps not surprising. When it came to selling my Pentax K1, I struggled a little bit. There was a few reasons I think that I was struggling with it. One, the Pentax K3 Mark III had just been released and a lot of Pentaxians were buying it, so there wasn't as much money available for used gear as there would ordinarily be. And two, when I've sold Pentax gear in the past, an awful lot of it is sold to Europe. Post-Brexit, that's much harder. The buyers that I've dealt with in the past were very worried about the taxes and the import duties that they might have to pay if it was being shipped abroad. I put it on the Facebook group like I normally would, and I put it on eBay. I secured a sale twice, and twice it fell through. Once the person simply ghosted me, and the second time the person waited until the last second and then said they couldn't afford it and could they offer me a lower price, and I pulled out. I would have probably just listed it straight away again on eBay, but I got coronavirus, so I didn't have time or interest in dealing with that, to be frank. So then I had a novel idea. There's a website. It's called Raffle.com. And I'd seen in the UK quite a few people sell high value items using Raffle.com as a way to offload them via a raffle. A raffle, if you don't know, I don't know if it's the same terms used around the rest of the world, but basically everybody buys a ticket, one ticket's pulled out of the hat, that's the winner. Simple as that. Now, Raffle.com, the reason I chose them as the website to use, they're used by a lot of brands and they seem to have been, I wouldn't say approved by Facebook, but their links are not automatically pulled as scam links by Facebook, and that was enough reason for me to consider using them. And I wanted to use a third-party website so there could be absolutely no accusations that I had fixed the draw in any way. Raffle.com is completely impartial, and they make the draw automatically and notify everybody who entered exactly who won, which made me feel a lot better because I know a lot of the people who were likely to want to buy tickets to win the Pentax K1, as I've been an active member of the Pentax community on Facebook for quite a long time. And I didn't want any animosity or feelings of bias. Now, I didn't really think this would work, but I thought, what have I got to lose? One of the big advantages of Raffle.com was that there is no fee unless the raffle completes. So it's a very low risk from my perspective, or at least I thought it was. Now, there are a few things to take into consideration. First of all, on Raffle.com, they have what they call the raffle guarantee, which I think is really good. If the raffle doesn't complete for whatever reason, or the person putting the prize up, what they call the host, doesn't send the prize to the winner, then the pot of money is divided up. The winner gets 75% of it, Raffle.com will keep 25% of it, and the host who put the prize up but didn't send it or cancelled the draw or whatever gets nothing. But they obviously get to keep their thing, their item, whatever they put up there. So I felt that was really good reassurance, and as we went through the raffle, it did give me some reassurance that people would be happy. Now, when putting the raffle together, I was looking at what the rules and regulations on Raffle.com were. You can host the raffle from anywhere in the world, and anywhere in the world can win the raffle. But I think it's all done in the base currency of British pounds. Now, Raffle.com has been set up to comply with specifically the British gambling regulations. Now, they will let you host a raffle from anywhere in the world, but in the small print of the terms and conditions, they basically say it has to be legal where you are to host a raffle, and you are responsible if it's not them. So you have to check out your own local regulations. So I did a lot of reading around this, and Most places in the world, raffles are absolutely fine, but there are the odd quirk. California in the United States has different rules apparently to the rest of the US, and cash raffles there are not allowed unless the winner is getting more than 50% of the pot. So from what I can tell, Raffle.com would be fine in California, even if it went to the cash compensation for the prize not being sent of 75% because it complies with the 50-50 rule. But I am in no way an expert on international gambling law. So wherever you are, if you're going to use it, look it up for yourself. Interesting to note though, they never term the 75% payment as a prize. It is always termed as a compensation payment for the failure of the raffle. But anyway, getting back to the raffle. So I went through the settings and see what you could and couldn't do on raffle.com. You set your raffle by two things: how many tickets you want to sell and how long you want the raffle to run. Now, you can set unlimited tickets and have the raffle just end on a certain date. But if you set a limit to the number of tickets, the raffle will end either when all the tickets are sold or the date is reached. You still set an end date, whichever one happens first. So the risk is, in my case, I did 200 tickets and I put it on 8 days. If it got to the 8th day mark and only 100 tickets had been sold, the pot wouldn't be big enough to justify sending the camera out. In that instance, I, as the host, get the option from Raffle.com to not send the camera on because it didn't achieve the full price that I wanted to get for it, in which case the winner gets 75% of the kitty, they keep 25%, I get to keep my camera and try something different or try another raffle. But I get the distinct impression they are not happy with you continually re-raffling the same thing unless you have fallen significantly short on your ticket sales. When it comes to doing the raffle, the minimum number of tickets that you can sell is 200 and the minimum price per ticket is 50p. Now, I thought it was going to be really difficult to sell tickets. Turned out I was wrong. Sold out in 12 hours. And I put it on for 8 days. So I selected 200 tickets. And you need to work out your costings to make sure that things are going to work out for you. So I set the ticket price at £6 a ticket. So the total revenue would be £1,200 from the auction. And by setting the total number of tickets, it meant anybody buying a ticket knew that each ticket had a 0.5% chance of winning. So fixing the odds so that everybody knows what the odds are going to be, I think is a really good thing from the ticket purchaser's point of view, because with an unlimited raffle, every time more tickets are sold, their odds go down. So there's no incentive for them to share your raffle or to tell other people about it. Where if there's a fixed number of tickets, it's in everybody's interest to get the word out about your raffle. Because if all the tickets aren't sold, the prize might not get issued. And then no more tickets are going to be sold than the prize pot. So it's in everybody's interest to keep sharing it around. So that was one of the reasons I chose the fixed number of tickets. But also, I felt I didn't want to take the piss out of the community that I've been a part of for a long time. I didn't want to get, I started off with a sale price for the camera of £1,200. I'd realised eventually that wasn't going to happen because the market had shifted. And on my final stab at selling it, I'd gone down to £900. So I wanted to get £900 for the camera. 200 tickets at £6 a ticket, £1,200. Raffle.com's commission is 10% of the final pot. So they would take £120, which would leave £1,080. Which, with me wanting 900 quid profit as a minimum, meant there was £180 left there. That was enough for me to feel confident that I could ship the camera absolutely anywhere in the world. And that's what I put on my listing, that I included free worldwide shipping. Now, you do not have to include shipping if you don't want to. You can choose instead to say the shipping is extra or the shipping is only to a certain part of the world. But I wanted to keep things simple, and I knew a lot of the audience for the particular product was international, and that they'd been worried about import duties. Now, I felt camera worth about £1,000. If you won it for £6, you really wouldn't care less about paying £100, £200 import tax because you were still getting a hell of a bargain. So that was my logic. In the back of my head, I never said it, but I also thought £180 was enough to ship it anywhere. But for most places, it would probably be enough for me to give the buyer a significant contribution towards their duty as well once it had been established, because you don't find out what the duty on a product is usually until it's landed and received by the person receiving it. But equally, a lot of countries apparently waive the duty on prizes. And that's one of the reasons that I chose Raffle.com. Now, one of the questions from the community was, could I have made more than what I wanted for the camera? Yeah, there's absolutely no reason I couldn't have said 400 tickets to be sold at £6 a ticket, so double the prize pot. Half of the odds for people buying the tickets. Would they have still sold? I don't know. I didn't think they would. And I didn't want to sell them like that because I felt it was just be taking the mickey out of my friends, basically. Pentaxians are a very tight-knit community, particularly on Facebook. Everybody knows everybody, and I feel there's a real community spirit there, and it's not something I would want to damage or sour by being greedy over some money. But there literally is nothing in the rules to stop you from doing that. Raffle.com have no problem with it, as long as it's all very clear. So once the listing is live, you have a choice from Raffle.com. You can either publicize the listing yourself or they can promote it for you. If they promote it for you, then they charge you a fee. Now, I was quite comfortable promoting it for myself. It was just a little game to see if it worked out. If it worked, great. If it didn't, great. Not a big deal. I tried something that would be fun. So I put a video on my YouTube channel to generate some interest, and I shared the link in all of the Pentaxian community groups that I was part of. The response was absolutely overwhelming. I thought a couple of people would buy a ticket, a couple of days later, a few more people would buy a ticket. I might, if I was lucky, get to the 200, and that would be great. I had in my head that if I got to 175, 150, I'd think hard about whether just to send the camera on or not. Within a few hours, the first 100 tickets had gone. That was like a huge shock to me, but it was also really reassuring because at least I knew that the winner would get at least £450, which I think is a reasonable price for a £6 ticket. Some people bought 1 or 2 tickets, a few people bought 5 or 10, but obviously it was up to them what they chose. As it happens, the winner only bought 2 tickets, so they got their K1 for £12. Now, should everybody do this? It's a question. I think a lot of people are interested in this as a way to release gear. That's a bit of fun. I think it definitely added some fun and interest to the Pentaxians Facebook groups. Would it work for everybody? Maybe. Not really a definite answer, but I think the reasons that it worked for me was I wasn't greedy. I kept the odds of winning sensible. I kept the ticket price relatively low in relation to the value of the product. And I was already an active part of a community where there was an audience who would be interested in the product, and I think that's the key one. People already knew me. They felt that they had a little degree of trust from me. Most people didn't seem to have ever heard of Raffle.com, so I don't feel, although it's a very well-established brand, that it brought the trust. I felt me being known within the community is what brought the trust to the table. I might be wrong about that. I think if the ticket price had been astronomical or the ticket price had been very low, I think I would have struggled to sell enough tickets, because I think people come along and will buy 2 tickets, and they'll buy 2 tickets if it's £3 or if it's £6. They'll just buy 2 tickets because they're just thinking about the odds of them entering and what they're willing to do, and higher numbers feels more frivolous. So once the raffle had concluded, I was asleep. It was in the middle of the night, I think. So I woke up the next morning, lots of things on Facebook about it, people congratulating the winner, etc. Automatically, Raffle.com draw it. They send me an email as the host, which gives me the contact details for the winner. They send the winner an email, which gives them the contact details for me. And then they send everybody else who bought a ticket an email telling them who the winner was, but not sharing their contact details. This was where I got things a little bit wrong. I got the impression from reading with Raffle.com, as soon as that was done, the winner would log onto his computer, he would click to say he accepts the prize and he does still want to win it and doesn't want to try and claim the cash instead. I thought it was just an option he got. But that's not the case. The winner does have to log on and click accept, but the accept is to accept that the prize is in their possession and is what they expected it to be. And it is as described. They don't actually get the option to go for the cash if they prefer, which has pros and negatives as the host of the raffle. The pro is, at least I know the camera's going and I'm getting the money. The negative is, you're dependent on that other person clicking a button and confirming that it's gone through. Now, they tell you in Raffle.com that if somebody's going to pick the prize up in person, you should take a photograph of them receiving it. If you ship it, you should take a picture of it being packaged. You should take a picture of the package. You should take the tracking ref, only send a tracked post, and you should keep records of the tracking in case you need to dispute in that they don't click the accept button and that you don't, so that you have to prove that they received it. It's entirely possible that they could try and not do that. After 21 days, if they haven't clicked the accept button or they haven't contacted Raffle.com to say there is a problem, the funds are released to you automatically. Now, if they click the accept button at any point, the funds are released to you immediately. So the winner, quite bizarrely, of my raffle, Alan, lives just up the road. So he came the next night and picked it up from my studio. While he was here, he logged onto his phone and he clicked to accept the prize. Raffle sent me an email almost immediately to say that the prize had been accepted and I could log in and organise a withdrawal of funds. So I logged in. When I got home, I'd give them my bank details, which they hadn't had any of that information up until now. And then that was on the Saturday night, and on the Monday morning, about 11 o'clock in the morning, I received notification from my bank that the funds had been received and Raffle had taken their commission. So it was a very simple process in that regard. Now, I've tried to address all the questions that people have asked as we've gone along here. But if I've missed anything and you think I can help, then put it down below. Now, Raffle.com does have a very good and comprehensive frequently asked questions section and good, quite well written terms and conditions. But what I've found is if you have a question, you're better off typing Raffle.com and the question into Google than you are trying to find it on their website. Google will find it for you faster. Any questions, again, comment section below. If you feel like subscribing, who's stopping you? Speak to you soon.